You guys good? You guys excited to be here? You guys are awesome. I love that last song. What's the name of that last song, Bo? Surrounded. You know why I like that last song? 4 lines. I'm pretty sure. Or 4 words, maybe. I don't even know. Listen, I nailed that song when I was singing up here today. I'll be honest, I can't remember lyrics ever. And I know, like, we put our lyrics on the screens. Our guys do an amazing job of that. But a lot of times, I just make up words when I'm singing up here. I'll just be like, hallelujah. Wait, that's not a word. So anyway, I love that last song. I nailed that last song. And I love it that you guys are here. And some of you, you're back for the first time in a while. And so it's so good to see you guys. And if you're new here, I know every Sunday is somebody's first Sunday. And so if that is you, we are honored. We are excited that you're here. My name is Joel, and I promise you it makes my entire week that you're here if you're here for the very first time. I love it that you're here. And if you're online, okay, I love it that, well, I wish you were here, but I love it that you're watching us online. And I need everybody online, every single person, to do me a favor right now. I need you to leave a comment below. Facebook, YouTube, leave a comment below. Let us know where you're watching us from this morning, and, be specific and not too specific. We've had some people, this is true. All right, online family, I'm going to make fun of you for a second. We've had people write, I'm watching from my bathroom. And I don't feel like I should have to say this, but online family, if you type bathroom into the comments, we're banning you from the internet, okay? You got to log out of AOL forever, all right? But wherever you're watching from, just leave a comment. And can you guys just show some love one more time to our online family? We really do love them. So we're starting this new series today called How We Fight Our Battles. And I wanted to start out with a question, all right? So we, me and you, got to make a confession to start out this series, okay? So this confession may be awkward for some of you all because we're in church, but you got to tell the truth because we're in church, okay? That's why you got to tell the truth, all right? So, and by the way, there's nothing that you've done that Bo Dukes hasn't done, okay? So don't, I was going to say me, but it's always fun to throw somebody else under the bus. Sorry, Bo. But here's my question, all right? And so you got to tell the truth. You're in church. How many of you here have ever, in elementary school recess counts, how many of you have ever gotten in a fight before? Ever gotten in a fight? Let me see your hands. Oh, wow. Okay, wait, let's put your hands down. I'm talking a fight where you brought hospital and sudden death. Ed's got his hand up right now. I'm we're just he's still up. All right, I'm talking you went full on Fight Club. Let me see you one more time. Have you ever gotten in a fight? Hands up. Okay, keep your hands up. This is good. This is good blackmail material right here. It's good. Ed, let me get you in the back. I'm going to zoom way in on Ed. There you go. Listen, if you've got in a fight before, just to make you feel a little bit better, I got my first and only fight in my life in 6th grade in Christian school. Did I ever get in a fight in public school? No, I had to go to Christian school to get in a fight, you guys. And I think that's because they taught me I had the full armor of Christ on or something, so I'm I'm good. I can go. And so here's how it all played out. It was in 6th grade, and it was report card night at our school. So this is already going to be a bad night for me, people, all right? And at our school, what happened is on report card night, all the parents, everybody's parents would come to the school and meet with all the teachers. Already not good, okay? None of this is good. And so that night, all the parents came. They met with all the teachers and all the kids from my class. Bo, was one of the kids in my class. All of us, we went outside to the recess playground area, and we played a pickup game of football. Now, this might surprise you, but I am not built for football. The NFL has never cold called me and been like, hey, Joel, we need a linebacker. That has never happened in my life. But it was report card night. I was out there, and so I don't know what happened because I'm not that great at football, but that night I scored my first and only touchdown of my life. Woo! I don't know. I think it was an accident. I think they accidentally gave me the ball. I don't know. And so, somehow, the guy who was guarding me was named Jordan Haddock. He was my friend. I put the juke moves on Jordan. And I got around him, and I scored. And it was the greatest moment of my life, you guys. I had never scored a touchdown before. So I'm in the end zone. I'm like full on Michael Jackson it. I'm like, doing the moves. I'm doing the stanky leg. I'm so excited in the end zone. And so I'm just having a celebration. And out of nowhere, my friend, Jordan, who was guarding me, out of nowhere, just came up and cold cocked me in the back of the head. Now, this might surprise you, but I am not built for fighting or football. But emotions were already high. It was report card night, and so I just started swinging. I was like swinging it air. I was putting random kids in headlocks. I was tapping into Ric Flair. This was the 90s, you guys. Like, I was ready to go. All right. And so it was a full-on fight club night at the local Christian school. And, I can't tell you who won the fight because I'm a pastor and I got to be humble. But Bo Dukes was there. And Bo is not a pastor. Bo, do you remember this night? You were there, aren't you? All right, so in your unbiased opinion, I know we're not like best friends and you don't work for the church or anything, but in your unbiased opinion, who won the fight?
4 out of 5 cards go to you.
4 out of 5 cards go to me? I am undefeated, guys. I am 1 for 1. From an eyewitness, you guys. Totally non-biased. And so I was so excited, guys. I won the fight. I was doing the stanky leg again. I'm like, woo, and then my parents came out and said, we got to talk about your report card. And that's when the stanky leg thing stopped. All right. Right there. And by the way, if you're a kid in the room, don't get in a fight this week and say, well, the pastor got in a fight. It's okay. Listen, it was one time. If you're a kid, be a lover, not a fighter, right? All right, everybody, be a lover. Thought we'd get some claps for that. Anyway, it's all right. Kids are going to do what they're going to do. All right, thank you, Butch. But I tell you that story because isn't it true that life can feel like a fight sometimes? Everything's good, and then bam, out of nowhere, you get hit. Has this ever happened to you before? Life can feel like a fight. Everything is easy, right? And then bam, you lose your job or you got to relocate. Everything is good, and then, your relationship status moves from married to divorced. Everything's good, and then you better buy all the gas or a Tesla or something because we got a gas shortage. Stanky leg scared, right? We're all like, oh my goodness. I saw a picture this week of somebody filling up a Walmart grocery plastic bag with gasoline. This is what's wrong with us people. This is why we can't have nice things. Anyway. Speaking of like Walmart, everything's good, and then you go into the Walmart and you see the blood pressure machine. Come on, you know what I'm talking about? And you're like, I'm curious, what's my blood pressure? And you go sit in that thing, and the readout says, put the tasty cakes down, go directly to the vegetable aisle, okay? Like, it's just like, bam, you get hit. Everything's good, and then we get hit with a pandemic. Which, by the way, do you remember when the pandemic was in the last 2 weeks? You remember those days? 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Listen, I feel like I'm on day 7,313,290 of homeschool teaching my kids. Lord help my children. I'm just trying to flatten the curve on their downward grades. That's all I'm trying to do. But isn't it true that life can just hit us sometimes? Isn't that true? We've all been there before. I remember years ago, I was in my Honda Civic and it had 97,000 miles on it. And just so you know, to me, that's like brand new. I'm like, I got a new car. All right, everything's good. I'm driving my Honda Civic with 97,000 miles on it through Long Neck, and my car breaks down out of nowhere. I take it to the mechanics. A few days later, the mechanic calls and says, hey, Joel, your Civic has a cracked engine block. You need a new engine. Oh, no. I'm looking at my phone like, is this April Fool's? Are you on crack? Is that what this is? Like, is that what that is? But he said, no, you got a cracked engine block. Listen, 97,000 miles on, it's a Honda. I drive like Miss Daisy, 2 hands on the wheel. I do. But I needed a new engine out of nowhere. And so life is like that. Man, we get hit with haymakers. It's a battle. It's a fight. We know all about that. I don't know about you, but I get tired of the fight. Anybody get tired of the fight? And you know why I think we get tired of the fight? I think we get tired of the fight because we're trying to fight our own battles. I think we're like, I got this. I'm strong. I'm smart. I got biceps like Butch. Okay, like I can do this. You got to bring in Butch, right? But But we think, I can fight my own battle. And then we get tired. Isn't that true? And so I just want to show you something today. And before I show you this verse, somebody here needs to hear this. You are not alone in your battle. You got somebody else fighting your battle with you. And let me just show you where I get that from. This is in 2 Chronicles 20, verse 15. This is going to be the theme verse for this series. And it says this. This is what the Lord says. Do not be afraid. Don't be discouraged by this mighty army. Don't be discouraged because your Honda Civic engine blows up with 97,000 miles on it. Don't be discouraged because you got health stuff. Don't be discouraged because the blood pressure machine ruined your trip to Walmart. Don't be discouraged in your battle, for the battle is not yours, but whose? But God's. Come on, somebody. I need to moonwalk right now. This is good right here. And so turn to the person next to you and say, the battle's not yours. The battle is not yours. And so I got good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? Which one do you hear first? Bad. Okay. I'm glad you said bad news because that's how it's in my notes. So that's how I want to say it. Anyway. All right. The bad news is life is going to give you battles. Okay. I wish life just gave me Jack Johnson and Lucky Charms and Taco Rio. All right. Praise the Lord for some Taco Rio. I wish life just gave me good things, but life will give us battles. All right. That's the bad news. But the good news is you're not alone in your battle. You got somebody else fighting your battle with you. You're not alone in your battle. Yay about that. From the mouth of babes, right? And in your battle, I think prayer is your greatest weapon. She agrees. Prayer is your greatest weapon, all right? And here's what I believe about prayer. I believe that when you pray, God makes a way. When you pray, God, now some of you are like, when I pray, God's going to give me my way? Everybody make your best dolphin noise. Look, when you pray, God does not always give you your way. Who knows what I'm talking about? Who's ever been down that road? Yeah. God does not always give us a way, but God makes a way when we pray because you just gave God a way to stand next to you in your battle. You gave God a way to stand next to you in your fight. And so today's big idea, if you're taking notes, is this, and we'll put this on the screen. Today's big idea is this. Prayer unlocks your unfair advantage. When you pray, it unlocks your unfair advantage. Now, let me tell you, in my house, there are 3 phrases that I hear every single day. Every day. I promise you, I hear these phrases every day. The first phrase I hear every day is, I'm hungry. Come on, who has kids and you know what I'm talking about? You hear this all the time. Listen, if you don't have kids, praise the Lord for your grocery bill. My kids are hungry 100% of the time. On Thursday, my boy Nixon ate 3 breakfasts. 3. Listen, we don't talk about tithing much around here. But if Nixon keeps eating 3 breakfasts, we're going to do a 52-week series. I promise. Nixon is constantly eating. My kids are constantly I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. So some of you hear that in your house, I'm hungry? Here's another phrase I hear in my house every single day. It's, who didn't flush the toilet? And the reason I hear that every day is because I'm the one asking my family, who didn't flush the toilet? Listen, flushing the toilet is not that hard. We don't have an outhouse. We don't use corn husks. Okay, listen. We got modern plumbing. It's a lever, people. How hard is it to pull a lever? Is it hard? You say it's not hard. My kids think it's hard. Okay, listen, I don't understand. So I'm constantly who didn't flush the toilet? Anyway, so I'm hungry. Who didn't flush the toilet? The last phrase I hear in my house every day is, it's not fair. My kids were born saying, I think those are the first 3 words they said. It's not fair. All the time. And they're constantly, Daddy, it's not fair. Mommy, it's not fair. Mommy and Daddy, it's not fair. It's not fair. And I'm you know what's not fair? Me having to hear you say it's not fair all day long. That's what's not fair. That's what's not fair. If you don't know, I have 2 kids, and they have 3 different amazing sets of grandparents. And one of their sets of grandparents got them 1 Power Wheel. Okay, now let's break this down. Okay, how many Power Wheels did the grandparents get the kids? 1. How many kids do I have? 2. World War III. Right there. all right? And so my kids will fight over who gets to drive that Power Wheel every single day. We have a picture of them in their Power Wheel right here. This is the Power Wheel. It needs to be like buffed up a little bit, but this is nicer than my car. Like when my car broke down, I drove the Power Wheel. True story. This has an MP3 hookup. My car does not have an MP3 hookup. Anyway, my kids look happy in this picture. Do they look happy? Yes. That's trickery. They're not happy, okay? Because every day they fight over who gets to drive this car. My kids will come in, one kid will come in my room before the sun even begins shining. And ask me a question. Now, I'll just tell you, at 3 a.m., I will say yes to anything. You want all my money? Sure. You want 17 breakfasts? Absolutely. You want to play with fire? There's a lighter in the cabinet. Okay, like whatever, I will say yes to anything, all right? And so kid number 1 will come in and say, hey, Daddy, can I drive the Power Wheel first today? And I'm like, yes, you can. That kid will leave. And then 2 minutes later, who comes in next? Kid number 2. And you know what's about to happen, right? They're about to say, Daddy, I wanted to drive the car first today. It's not what? Fair. It's not fair. I'm like, kids, fairness died in the Garden of Eden. And they're like, what? I'm like, it's in the Bible. Read your Bible. But they love to say it's not fair. Listen, life isn't fair. Do you see my hairline? No, thank you. I didn't plan that. That was great. Come to the next service and do that. Just say to the person next to you, it's not fair. It's not fair. Look, we are born saying it's not fair. All right, that's the bad news. The good news is when you're in a battle and you pray, you have the unfair advantage. All right, and that doesn't mean you get to drive the Power Wheel. That means you have the power of God driving you through your situation. Did you know what your unfair advantage is? Your unfair advantage is you have a God who loves you. You have a God who cares about you. You have a God who wants the best for you. You have a God who can do anything, anytime, at any point. You have a God who is all-powerful, all-knowing, all-present, all-available, and He loves you. You have an unfair advantage. Now, that doesn't mean you get anything you ask for. Okay, He's not a genie. This isn't Aladdin. But I think one of the best things about prayer isn't what God does for you, it's what God does in you. Because it reminds you, hey, who am I really surrounded by? It reminds me, who is actually helping me fight this battle? It reminds me how I have that unfair advantage. Can I tell you a quick Bible story? It involves a stick, so say yes. Okay, I'll show you the stick in a second. Okay, so the story starts way back at the very beginning of the Bible in Exodus. Okay, so this is way before Jesus shows up. All right, a guy named Moses shows up, and Moses, he's famous. All right, let's just be honest. He's a celebrity in the Bible. He's famous, and he's famous because he jailbroke the Israelites out of Egypt, and he GPS got them back home through a desert. And so early in this journey, when Moses is getting the Israelites through the desert, all right, everything is good. And then, bam, the Israelites get hit. All right, they get attacked by the enemy, and the enemy is called the Amalekites. Everybody say the Amalekites. Bad guys. All right, they're the bad guys. And so in that situation, Moses is like, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? And he's like, I'm going to send in my best military guy to lead the Israelites in this battle, in this fight. And so he's like, I need to send in my Butch, my guy. And his name isn't Butch, his name is Joshua. And so Joshua is going to lead this army against the Amalekites. And when the battle starts, Moses goes up to the top of this hill to get the sky cam angle of the battle. And he gets this stick up this hill. Okay, so visual aid, okay? And so in the battle, he holds up this stick. And let me show you what happens. This is in Exodus 17, verse 11. This is so good. It says, as long as Moses held up the staff or stick in his hand, the Israelites had the what? The advantage. But whenever he dropped his hand, the Amalekites gained, what did the enemy gain? All right. So when he held up his hand, had the advantage. When he didn't hold up his hand, the enemy had the advantage. Now, maybe you're thinking like, is today about sticks? Do I need a magic stick? Because I don't like ticks, and I don't want to go in the wood and get sticks, okay? Listen, today is not about magic sticks. This represents, because you're like, what is the symbol of this? What does this mean? This is Moses saying, God, I am relying on you. God, in this battle, I need your strength. I need you to help me fight this battle. I need you. And don't miss this. When Moses held up his hand, who had the advantage? The Israelites, God's people. He had the unfair advantage. But when Moses' arm got tired, he's going to get tired. There's deltoids hurt. Okay, so he needed to get a water break or a Red Bull. He had like the T-Rex arm situation, like hurting, like he's just hurting. He dropped his hand. Who started winning the battle? The enemy started winning the battle. And so Moses' unfair advantage was when he said, God, I am relying on you. And so just turn to the person next to you and say, you have an unfair advantage too. You have an unfair advantage because listen, if you're in a battle right now, the best thing that you can do, I think, is pray. Is to say, God, I need you. I need your strength. I can't win this battle without you. And just to pray. Prayer is your stick. Prayer is how you get that unfair advantage. If you've been around here for a while, you know that I probably tell a little too much about myself. It's all out there, so just you'll get to know me as you're here. One thing a lot of people here know is that from 2011 to 2013, I went through a depression. And, you might say, well, you can't, a leader can't show weakness like that. Listen, I think your greatest strength is to talk about your weakness. Just going to put that out there. That's a sermon for another day. But anyway, from 2011 to 2013, I was depressed. If you're there now, I've been there. I know what it's like. It is a battle. It is a fight. And so what I did is I wrote down Isaiah 41:10. And I put that verse in my wallet, and that verse became my prayer. I got that verse out every single day, and I quoted it. I would say, so do not fear. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Every day, I just said that over and over and over again, over and over and over again. And that was my battle cry in my depression. That was my prayer in my depression. And thankfully, in 2013, finally, God gave me victory over that depression. And so I'm just here to tell you that I am living proof that prayer works. It works. Now, here's what's crazy. Do you know that over 50% of people say, I pray every day in surveys? Over 50% of people. I think it's because they take minivan rides with my wife. I think. I don't know. Just kidding. I don't need to hide this stick. She's going to hit me with a stick if I say that. 50% of people say they pray every day. Isn't that amazing? Now, the flip side of that is 30% of people say, I never pray. And if that's you, I'm not here to make you feel bad. We are not that church. Listen, if you don't pray, I get it. I remember when I was a kid, I used to go to my mom's house, and I loved to go to my mom's house, and we would go there to spend the night sometimes. And at night, my mom will put me to bed, and she would tuck me in, and she'd say prayers for little 7-year-old Joel. And she would have me repeat after her, okay? And so I would do like the thing, like this, and she'd say, all right, just repeat after me. And I'd say, okay. And she'd say, now I lay me down to sleep. I'm like, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. And if I should die before I wake, I'm going to die before I wake up? Okay. Mom was like, just say, if I should die before I wake, if I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. I pray the Lord my soul to take. He's taking my soul? Like, I'm going to be soulless tonight? Like, I was freaked out. Who prayed that prayer as a kid? This is why we need therapy. Right here. This is why. That prayer freaked me out. No wonder 30% of people don't pray. Like, we were taught that prayer. And I tell you that because prayer is easier for some people than it is for other people. Nothing has taught me this more than my 2 kids, okay? I have 2 kids. One is a natural prayer, and one is like, I think one of you taught them that if I should die before I wake prayer, because they are weirded out by the whole thing. And so let me just break down my kids a little bit. First off, my boy Nixon will talk to anybody or anything, period. You want to have a conversation today? Just find my boy Nixon. He will talk to you. The other day, he was looking out of our window for 20 minutes, just like looking out the window. I'm like, what are you doing? And so I finally was like, Nixon, what are you doing? He's like, I'm waiting for the neighbors to come home so I can go talk to them. They're 75 years old, just so you know. True story. They pull in their bright blue van, and Nixon just like bolts out the door. And he's like, I'm going to go talk to the neighbors. I'm like, do you not know anything about stranger danger, son? It's like anything. But he will talk to anybody. He will talk to this table. Full conversation. He could talk to anything, all right? But my daughter, Nora, whole different situation, okay? Like her spiritual gift is not talking. She could not talk to you for days. Weeks, ever, really. Like she just, and so getting her to talk to Jesus has like been really, really difficult. And so at night at our house, every night, our whole family, we all pray together. We do a family prayer. And some of you are like, oh my goodness, that sounds so spiritual. Listen, it is not all that spiritual. If you want to see how it goes, just come to my house at 7:30 tonight. You will see. Because we'll be middle of the prayer. Nixon will be just shouting potty words in the middle of the prayer. Nora will be asking to get on my phone to watch YouTube. My dog is having an asthma attack in the middle of the whole situation. Things are going off the rails. And so it's just crazy. So anyway, we try to pray together every night, and we rotate. Every night, a different person leads the prayer. And so when it's Nixon's turn, listen, he sounds like an auctioneer. I mean, it's just concerning, actually. He just says a lot. But when it's Nora's turn, it is like, it's just not easy for her. It's hard for her. And so the best trick that we ever did is I brought my kids' karaoke machine here today. This is when it gets wild in our house on Friday night, okay? Karaoke machine. But we one night were like, Nora, you get to pray through the karaoke machine. Oh my goodness, listen, if you can't get your kid to pray, go to Walmart and skip the blood pressure machine, get yourself a karaoke machine. She prayed like 17 minutes that night. Now, it's a little weird when, like, this is a bright light right here, so when you turn this on, it's like flashing these lights, and the music's like, boochie, 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 boochie. And it's like Club Jesus in our house, and like Nora's like getting into it. But we will go Club Jesus in our house if it gets my kids to pray, you guys. Anybody needs to borrow that? There it is, all right? So, but I tell you that because for some of y'all, it's hard to pray. You're like, I don't get it. Like, do I need a rug? Are there candles involved? Like, how does this work? Do I just say thou a lot out loud, or is that just stuff in my head? Even the disciples were like, Jesus, how do we do this? Like, we're so confused right now. And so, like, if that's kind of where you're at, don't feel bad. I don't want you to feel bad. But the best advice I have for you, other than to get a karaoke machine at Walmart, the best advice I have for you is to stop thinking I'm praying and start thinking I'm just talking to Jesus. Right. I think when we hear prayer, we're like, oh my goodness, I feel it sounds so religious. I don't know what to do. So stop praying and start just talking to Jesus. The other day I was running, and Elevation Worship, which is one of my favorite bands, just came out with a new album called Old Church Basement. Hello. I'm like, that's our church. Anyway, I love Elevation Worship, and I'm listening to them, and they have a new song called Talking to Jesus, and it's all about prayer, and I love the lyrics of this song, and we'll put this up on the screen because, I can't remember lyrics. All right, so this is about prayer. There's no wrong way to do it. There's no bad time to start. It don't have to sound pretty. I'm from Gumboro, and so I really resonate with that line. It don't have to sound pretty. Just tell them what's on your heart. Because it's not a religion, no, because it's more like a friendship. And so just talk to your father like you were his kid. Just start talking to Jesus. Isn't that good? I'm like running, and I'm like so into, I ran into one of those like snow marker things on the side of the road. Not a blessing. That is not a blessing. But there's no bad time to start, and it don't have to sound pretty. Just tell them what's on your heart. And so if you don't pray, listen, do not feel bad. Maybe it's been a year, maybe it's been 10 years, maybe you've never prayed. I don't want you to feel bad, but I do want to tell you there's no bad time to start. And so just turn to the person next to you and say, if you can talk to Alexa, you can talk to Jesus. If you can talk to Alexa, you can talk to Jesus. We just freaked out all the Alexas in our online family, all right? Everybody's house is like bebopping right now. Hey, I want to get really, really practical, and I just want to tell you how I talk to Jesus. And so if you need some help with how to talk to Jesus, I'm just going to give you kind of what I do. And this is not rocket science. Guys, I got an 880 on my SAT, all right? I'm not what they call intellectually deep, can't believe I just told you guys you got 880 on SAT. Some of you are leaving the church, all right. And anyway, this is not deep, all right. But you can do this out loud. You can do this in your head. You can do this in a karaoke machine. It does not matter. And this is very, very simple. And this is really what I do, okay? So I kind of structure it this way, 3 different parts. The first part is, Jesus, you are amazing. This is the wow section. Everybody say, wow. This is where I'm like, Jesus, you created the galaxy. You created the universe. You are powerful. You are strong. You are amazing. You are holy. You are perfect. You are everything I can't be. You are amazing. You gave the Ravens Lamar Jackson. Wow. That's the wow section. This is where I'm just like, wow. Your grace, God, wow. Your love, wow. Your forgiveness, wow. The fact that you helped me marry Stacy, who's way out of my league, wow. Wow. And that's simple. That's the first section. Wow. Okay, Jesus, you're amazing. The second section is this. Jesus, I need some of your amazingness. This is called the help me section. Everybody say, help me. This is where I'm like, Jesus, help me to be a better husband. Help me to be a better dad. Help me to be a better preacher and leader. Like, help me. I need your strength. I need your wisdom. I need your favor. Help my Honda Civic. Help me, help me, help me, help me, help me preach. Like, when I'm standing up here, I'm always like, Jesus, help. Like, Jesus, 7 people were sleeping during my message last week. Could you just cut it down to 2 this week? Would you just help me? And you guys are doing great, by the way. Most of you. I think we're only at 2. Anyway. But Jesus, help me. This is the help me section. And then the last section is this. Jesus, name so-and-so, needs some of your amazingness. All right, this is where I pray for you all, okay, because you all need some help. Who here needs some help? You need some help? Butch, raise your hand. Yeah, you do. Okay. You know, in the story in Exodus with Moses, Moses needed some help. He was holding up his arms, and he got tired. And he dropped his arms. And Aaron and Hur, it says, came and they helped lift up his hands. And so he could keep lifting up his hands. And you need people around you to help you fight through your battles. And so what I do, I'm like, Jesus, I pray for Stacy. Help her. Jesus, I pray for my kids. Help them to get a job so they can move out one day. So I can have more money for groceries. Okay, please. But Jesus, help my kids, help my friend Bo, help my brother, help my sister-in-law, help my nieces and nephews, help my church, help Butch, help Amy, help Carrie, help these people. And by the way, just so you know, the card that's under your seat if you're on the front row and the card that's behind your seat for everybody else, it says connection card. Listen, whenever you fill this out and you put your prayer request here, I get an email and a whole group of people get an email and our church is praying for you. And so if you ever need prayer, just fill this thing out and just drop it off when you're leaving, okay? And if you're like an online person, go to bayshore.online and click prayer and just tell us what it is. And our whole team gets an email and we will pray for you. And we do that because we all need people who will lift our hands up, who will just help us through our battles. And so this is how I talk to Jesus. Jesus, you're amazing. Jesus, I need some of your amazingness. Jesus, so-and-so needs some of your amazingness. There's a fourth one, actually. The last one is TTYL. If you have a teenager, just ask your teenager. It means talk to you later. Jesus is like, come back. So you just got to say, I'll talk to you later. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. But this, I'm telling you, this is your unfair advantage. Prayer, listen, prayer is not a have to. It's a I get to. And so if you're in a battle, I want you to pray. Now, let me just ask you this. Who here thinks this is doable? This is pretty doable? Yeah. This is doable. All right, this right here, this is how we fight our battles. All right, I'm going to end with this. I just want to age the room real quick. I want to see how many of you remember back in the day before GPSs and TomToms, back in the day we had atlases the size of Texas, or you printed out your directions on MapQuest. Who remember? Who's old? Oh my goodness, wow. Okay, those were the dark ages. Print those things out. Nowadays, listen, if you're on your phone while you're driving, they call that distracted driving. You get arrested, I'm pretty sure, if you do that. Back in the day, you could be driving down the interstate going 95 miles an hour with a 4-foot by 4-foot atlas. A police officer would drive by and be like, oh, you got the large font. Awesome. All right, nobody cared. Those were golden years, man. Those were golden years. Anyway, so I remember, it must have been 15 years ago, our whole church staff went down to this church conference down in Atlanta, and the church staff made the mistake of making me the rental car driver. And that's a mistake because I drive like Miss Daisy, all right? And I grew up in Gumboro playing tag in chicken houses. I do not know how to drive in downtown Atlanta. But I was the driver, so I'm the driver down there trying to, it's freaking me out driving down in downtown Atlanta. And I remember the very last day of the conference went late, it went over. And so we had to get back to the airport, and we were late. So everybody got in the van, the rental van. I'm trying to drive us back to the Atlanta airport, and everybody on staff that day had printed out directions from different websites. So everybody's telling me different ways to go. They're like, turn here. No, keep going straight. Turn. And eventually everybody was like, Joel, we are at according to this map, we are at the airport. We're at the airport. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, all I see are fields. This is a podunk road. I see rusted out hangars. I'm pretty sure that's a burnt up B-52 plane. We're like in a plane graveyard. I'm like, I don't think this is the airport. And they're like, no, it is. It's the airport. And then I had two people saying, this is it. Just park the car. I had three people saying, no, Joel, you just do a Huey. This is not it. My dad was in the back. He's like, Joel, I think that's our terminal right over there. I'm like, Dad, that's a B-52. I don't think we're flying back to Salisbury in a B-52. Maybe Salisbury. But anyway, we were so lost. And I remember I just lost it. I'm like, you all need to get one map. And they all had their maps, on that 90s printer paper with the perforated edges. There was little holes everywhere, okay? I'm like, get one map. One map. And we are following that map. I don't care if it tells me to turn into a lake. We are following that map because you all are driving me crazy. I almost lost my job that day. That was almost it. Miss Kathy, sweet Miss Kathy, if you're watching this, I'm sorry I yelled at you in that car. I just lost it. I couldn't handle it anymore. But we needed a GPS. Remember back in the day when we didn't know the ways because nobody had Waze. You know what I'm saying? You didn't know where you knew what to go. Those were the dark ages. And I just want to tell you that in your faith, we don't live in the dark ages. We don't live in the dark ages. And if you feel lost right now and you're like, I don't know which direction to turn, I just want you to know you have a God in heaven who's saying, you're not lost. You got this. I will be your GPS. I will be your therapist. You are not lost. And if you feel like you're in a battle right now and you got hit with a haymaker, kind of like I got hit in 6th grade, okay? You just kind of got hit and you're like, I don't even know which direction to go. Listen, when you're lost and you don't know which direction to go, the best direction to go is up. Is to go up and say, Jesus, you are amazing. Jesus, I need some of your amazingness. Jesus, so-and-so needs some of your amazingness. Talk to you later. All right, I'll come back and talk to you. And so the best thing you can do in your battle is to phone home ET. That is your unfair advantage. And you might be sitting here and saying, but Joel, prayer never works for me. It doesn't work for me. Listen, you are in church. I promise you are in church because someone somewhere prayed for you to come to church. Right now, you are proof that prayer works. Somewhere along the line, somebody talked to Jesus so that one day you would talk to Jesus and you're sitting in church. Amen. And so prayer does work. And we don't always get what we ask for, but we get God standing next to us in our battle. And just let me end on this. The main point of prayer, what if it's not to get the results that we're looking for, but it's to get the relationship that God's looking for? What if it's about the friendship? And so if you're in a battle right now, if you're in a fight, I just want to encourage you today, this week, this month, sometime, just start talking to Jesus. And one more time, we'll put those lyrics up on the screen. If you're not sure what to do, there's no wrong way to do it. There's no bad time to start it. It don't have to sound pretty. Just tell him what's on your heart. Because it's not a religion. No, it's more like a friendship. So just talk to your father like you were his kid. Just start talking to Jesus. This is how we fight our battles. Does that sound good? Does that help you guys? Okay, let me pray for you guys. Jesus, I'm thankful that we get to talk to you. And it's not a have to, it's a get to. We get to connect with the God who created the Milky Way, the God who created the universe. That is power right there. And sometimes things don't go our way, God, and we don't know what to do, and we think that means you're bailing on us. But God, that doesn't mean that at all. We always have access to you. We always have you, and you are always directing our steps, even if we can't see where we're going. And so, God, I just pray you encourage somebody here today who feels lost or they feel like they got hit. I pray that they'll know that they're walking out of here, and they may have gotten hit, they may have a wound, but they have somebody who's taking care of that wound with them. They have somebody who's walking through that pain with them. So God, I just pray that we'll walk out of here knowing that we can just start talking to you because you're our Father, and we can talk to you like we're your kids. And so, God, thank you that we have access to you that way. In your name, amen.